Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm Nupur, and I consider myself to be a software person. It's not that I write code using software, but I like using software to build competitive advantages for businesses. And that's really what the mission of Twilio is, and that's what even our CEO believes. He believes that software is a mindset and not a skill set. It is a competitive advantage that comes from the agility of software. You can use the agility of software to better your solutions, sprint after sprint, listening to your customers and making more robust solution. And the other thing that drives competitive differentiation is having great customer experiences through communications. When our founders started Twilio, they ran into a bunch of things. They wanted to build out their new solutions, and they found that the legacy communication systems were really, really painful. You'd have to wire up a bunch of copper wires and then connect them to your data center, and then rack up a lot of telco gear and have an infrastructure team come in and integrate all of these things together. And that would be so painful, it would cost you millions of dollars and at least 24 months before you could start building on anything. And this is the exact opposite of the software mindset, right? This is not what you want. So Twilio was started in 2008 to bring communications to the era of software and away from its legacy in physical and hardware networks. And we had a mission, and the mission was to fuel the future of communications. And the way we do this is through a cloud communications platform. This cloud communication platform allows you to support every channel out of the box. It enables devices to communicate. It is intelligent. It is reliable and secure. And most importantly, it is built on APIs and delivered to you as that. And that's what developers love. And this cloud communications platform has all of the ingredients that you need to build any kind of communications use case that you can think of, whether it's on SMS, voice, video, or any other channel. It's your one-stop shop to build all of these solutions. And if you think that you haven't used Twilio, there are chances that you are using it all the time and you don't even know it. Think of the Uber use case, right? You call an Uber and it arrives and the driver sends you a text message. That's powered by Twilio. Another good example is when you sign up for a Box account and you get a two-factor authentication. That's also powered by Twilio. Another example is, say you have a reservation made with OpenTable, and your dinner table is ready. You get a text message saying that it's ready, come on in. That's also powered by Twilio. And all of these companies are using the power of software to better their communications and to better their product every single day. And there are a bunch of other companies too, and I just wanted to show you the breadth of services that can be deployed using Twilio. So I'm going to go through some more examples. RinseBot is one of my favorite ones. Imagine you're here at AWS, and you're here for 5 days, and you have a lot of laundry that needs to go back and get cleaned, right? The RinseBot can just ping you and say that, hey, I'm in your neighborhood. Can a valet be sent to pick up your laundry? And you can just respond with a Y. And you could respond to that, get added to the route, and have your laundry picked up. There could be another situation where, sure, the valet's arrived, but you're not available at that time. You're probably outside, and you want to schedule another day for an appointment. You can do that as well. You can not respond with the Y, but instead respond with your own response. And the bot detects it, and so it connects you with a contact center agent. And then you can schedule another day to get your laundry picked up. Now imagine a third situation, which is neither of these two, right? You have scheduled your appointment, or you've scheduled your laundry to get picked up, but you just ran outside for like a minute or two to run some errands, and you missed the valet. At that point, you can ping back. And this time, instead of being contacted with the contact center agent, you are put directly in touch with the valet himself. So this really talks about the 3 different ways that you can have an interaction, right? And that's what we're all here to build. We want to build great customer experiences through communications. It could be through a bot, it could be through a contact center agent, or it could be through the valet himself. Wanted to show you some more examples, and this is another favorite. We've all heard of Zillow and Trulia, right? Twilio powers them as well. So when you're trying to rent a place or buy a place, you go online and fill up a form. And the instant you fill a form, you get contacted by an agent. And this happens like within the first 5 minutes. And really, it takes into account that you're interested in buying property or you're interested in renting a house, and it takes that instant immediately and that context and gives you a call. And the good thing about that for Zillow was that their close rates increased and their revenue increased as well. So this is another example of where Twilio can be used for lead tracking, for example. Another one of my favorite examples is Nordstrom. So Nordstrom personalizes the shopping experience with Twilio. So they connect both shoppers and salespeople in a very private manner. But so you can have an interaction with a salesperson whenever there are new product arrivals or you're looking for something and it's now available in your size, you get a text message from a salesperson. And that really is a great experience for the shopper. That's another example of where Twilio was used. And another final one, which is an interesting and rather unique use case, is ING. So ING has in-app video ID verification. Basically, in the European Union, they require you to be in person, face-to-face, when they want to verify you as you start a new bank account. So that would mean that people would actually have to be there physically present in the bank, which meant it would take days to even onboard anyone or start a new account. So what ING did is that they used the programmable video solutions at Twilio, and they enabled in-app video onboarding. And this led to new accounts being created in minutes instead of days. We have all of these use cases, and there are a lot, but one thing that ties all of these different customer stories and communication use cases together is that developers were critical in building these solutions. As a company founded by developers for developers, we have more than 2 million developers in our ecosystem. And the applications powered by these developers reach over billions of devices all over the world and fire billions of API requests annually. So it's a really large ecosystem today. And we have started in 2008, and as we started out, we partnered with AWS right away to take over 150 years of legacy communication systems. And AWS has been with us from the start. It started with our first EC2 machine, but then as Amazon expanded, we adopted many of their products and services, whether it was Lambda, Amazon Direct, Dynamo, Redshift, all sorts of things. So as Twilio has grown, especially both in regions as well as operations, AWS has been there to support us at the pace and scale I would believe that we would not be able to do it. And while Twilio is being powered by AWS, AWS is also being powered by Twilio. Even the SMS messages, notifications that you get at AWS are powered by Twilio. And we do this because of our super network. And it is super not just because it is, but also because it acts as a layer over all of the carriers around the globe. So what we have done is that we have taken AWS network, and then we have deployed our software in all of these regions, in all of these countries, all over the world, and we have interconnected it with all of the carriers. So we take the feedback and data from our customers to continuously optimize the performance of our super network so that every text message and every phone call that traverses this network has low latency, high quality, and high deliverability. So what we have done basically is we have turned the AWS network into a low latency, globally interconnected cloud communication system. And this, coupled with our programmable communication APIs, means that you can create any communication use case you want. And this can support large workloads. And because the thing really comes down to this, right? In 2018, you don't really get points for using servers. You get points for serving users. And companies that win are ultimately companies that ship software. And with that, we come to an end. But I do have a demo, and I'm going to need some volunteers. So I hope you guys are going to be OK doing that. I'm going to quickly switch to my console. What I'm going to demo today for you is our product called Twilio Studio. It's a visual drag-and-drop builder that allows you to build any kind of communication use case you want. We have templates to get you started on some of the most common use cases. Let me quickly show you how that works. So this is what the dashboard looks like. It's within the Twilio console. I can create a new flow. I'm going to create one right now and call it AWS reInvent. And then I'm shown this little box where I have some templates that help me get started right away. I touched a little bit about some of the communication use cases that our customers built, but there are so many more. We have transformed some of those commonly used communication use cases into templates. So you'll find appointment reminders, phone trees. Phone trees are basically the dial 1 for this, dial 2 for that kind of things. We have chatbots, SMS surveys, autoresponders, lead routing, call forwarding, and more. So today, what I'm going to build for you is an IVR and phone tree. I'm going to build it from scratch. So what you see now is the blank canvas. Your IVR or phone tree can be triggered from 3 things. It can be triggered by an incoming message, by an incoming phone call, or it can be pushed out using a REST API request. So the phone tree that we're going to build out is going to be triggered by an incoming phone call. So basically, someone's going to call the phone tree, hear something, and then it's going to get routed to 2 people. All right? So follow closely. Our phone tree is getting triggered by a call, so this is where we're going to start our flow. The first thing that the caller will hear when they call in is, hello, how can we help you? So I'm going to quickly connect that there. So here in this little text box, I'm going to say, hello, welcome to AWS reInvent. How can we help you? Dial 1 to reach a rep, and dial 2 for emergencies. All right? And I can choose the language that I want this IVR to be in. I'm just going to choose the default English one, and I'm going to choose IV as my poly voice, and I'm going to hit save. All right? Now what we want to do in the phone tree is we want to direct the person to someone in sales or support. But before that, we want to have the option of the person either saying sales or support or dialing 1 or 2. So I'm going to drag 2 split widgets onto the screen. And the first split widget will be connected to the user pressed keys dot. And the second split widget is going to be connected to the user said something dot. Right? The first split widget, go back in here and change the variable to test as digits and hit save. And in the next split widget, I'm going to check for the speech result and hit save. So what I've done here is I want to have 2 scenarios. One scenario is when the user can dial digits in, and the second scenario is when the user can say something. That's why there are 2 split widgets. Right? Let's configure the first split widget. So here I'm going to add a transition. The transition is new condition. The condition equals to 1. And I want one more condition, which is 2. And I'm going to set these conditions and hit save. And let's set up the next split widget. Here, the new condition is, instead of equal to, I'm going to say contains. If it contains rep, or if it contains emergency. All right? And the reason I chose contains instead of equal to was because people have different ways of saying the same thing, right? You could say emergency, or you could say, hey, I have an emergency, please connect me to someone, or there are just multiple ways of saying the same thing, which is why I put contains in. Now I'm going to have two people to volunteer. Is anyone willing to volunteer to be the rep and the emergency person? Anyone? No one? Come on, don't be shy. Would you? All right. Could you come up here? Or, okay, wait, I'll come down. Just give me a sec. I am going to add another widget first and then come down to you. So this is the widget to connect the call to the rep. I'm going to rename it to rep. And you can rename any of the widgets here. And this is where I add the phone number. So I'm going to quickly go down and get 214.
289 561.
Thank you. I'm going to need one more volunteer. Come on. All right. All right, we have our rep. And so if the person either says rep, he's connected to the rep, or if you dial 1, then you're connected to the rep. And we need one more connect call to widget, and this one is going to be for the emergency. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put in my friend and volunteer, Natasha's number here. So we don't have reps. So Natasha +1. All right, and we're going to call this emergency. All right, our flow is completely ready. We can publish it, so I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. And that's our simple IVR. It has been created. Now we're going to test it. But before we test it, we need to hook it up with a phone number. Now this is the phone number that will be displayed on your website. This is where people call in to your IVR and then get routed. All right, so let's quickly buy a phone number right here. So I go to my trigger widget, and I'm going to buy a phone number now. So I clicked on Let's Buy a Phone Number. I'm going to choose a new number. And I want my number to be both voice and SMS compatible. And I'm going to choose a Massachusetts number, because that's where I'm from. All right, I'm going to pick the first number and buy it. Let's set this number up. And this is our phone number. I'm going to quickly connect it to our new studio flow. It was called AWS reInvent. And then we're done. All right, now I need a volunteer. So can I have another volunteer who could dial this number, 617-340-2890? Any volunteers here? Yeah? All right. Dial this number. It's 617-340-2890. You're calling it? Great. There's probably going to be a lot of noise, so you'll have to dial 1 or 2. Dial 1? OK, so the rep needs to get a call. And if you dial 2, then Natasha's going to get a call. She's standing right there. You got a call? There you go. This is, as you can see, I deployed this in like less than 5-10 minutes. Studio is really, really easy to use, and it's all built on serverless environments so that this will scale with you as you grow. If you have like 1 million calls coming in, it's not going to collapse. It's all on serverless. I want to quickly take a moment to show you all of the other things that you can build using Studio and all the templates that we have. So I'm going to quickly do that, and then we can answer some questions. So if I click on Create New Flow, and OK, let's call this AWS 2. And hit next, I'm going to open up Chatbot because I know that that's a lot of interest. So I just clicked on the template, and you'll see that the chatbot is completely ready. All you have to do is make the changes that you want to the copy and deploy it. And the value really here is that a developer can build this once and then have other people on the team, whether it's customer engagement people or marketers, to go in and make copy changes. So it's really a one-time thing that developers have to do, and they don't need to be harassed over and over again for every little copy changes. You know, there's this joke about like, oh, people just tell me to make the button look more like a button. Make it look more red and big so that it looks clickable. You don't have to do that sort of thing. Can just be outsourced to a marketer. Right. That brings me to the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, then we can talk about that.
And if you do have any questions, I'm happy to bring you the microphone so everybody can hear the question. Just raise your hand for me. Anybody, anybody? We have one here.
How easily does this connect to Flex or to another kind of system that's similar to that?
So you can use Studio with Flex. So any flow that you build on Studio, for example, if you were to build the IVR that I just showed you, and you want to connect that to an agent, then that integrates to Flex. Studio can also be considered as a visual application builder for Flex. So as you're setting up Flex, you can build things on Studio, and it becomes a part of Flex immediately.
Anybody else? Yep.
So can you integrate voice and SMS?
Yes, you absolutely can. This chatbot use case that I just showed, let me quickly open it up again. It could be triggered through an incoming message, or it could be triggered through an incoming call. You can absolutely do that. As well as within the chatbot, if the bot doesn't understand something, you want to transfer it to a real human, you can do that. And I have that right here, I believe. So here, this particular widget you can see here, this is a Barista Bot widget where you're trying to order a coffee. If the bot doesn't understand what you're saying, then I've just put a message here. We want to make sure you get your coffee, even if we're not quite sure what it is. Would this be a good time to call? And then if they say yes, then we call the barista. So it can go from messaging to voice seamlessly.
And a quick follow-up. So, calendaring. Do you have anything for calendaring?
You can, yes. So we have a widget called functions, and you can write your own code in functions and have all of that integrated together.